Hey guys, just wanted to show what I've made so far with this RCXD paintball prototype. The original project started off as a delivery system for a Tippmann Big Boy grenade. This is the first one right here. Really simple concept. You basically put the grenade into the housing. The rubber band part sticks out up top here. This spring-loaded clamp would lock down and hold it in place, and then a pin would come up through the bottom here and release it. The problem was that apparently the Tippmann Big Boy grenades didn't have a really good spread pattern when they're not being thrown. They kind of need to have to bounce up, move around to actually spread paint. When I set it off with this thing, it just kind of scored, you know, maybe like a cut like 2 or 3 feet in every direction. Like you basically had to park it between somebody's legs for it to really be able to do anything. So this is the second prototype. Instead of using a Tippmann Big Boy grenade, it uses a sealed PVC capsule that I fill up with my own paint. And it's a pretty simple system. It uses mostly parts from paintball guns. In terms of the internals, you have an on-off ball valve, a 1/8 MPT fitting hooked to a servo, piece of macro line, braided steel hose going to an ASA that's connected to a 12-gram quick charge adapter. So basically all it does to operate is I have a third channel on the transmitter that I can push back and forth to open and close the valve. The way you load it is really simple. I mean, when there's a cap on it, you just pop the CO2 cartridge in, lock it down, crack it in place, and then all I do is hit the button, and you get a nice big CO2 discharge. What happens when it enters into the capsule through here is you have a commercial sprinkler head. I've got another one floating around here. Here it is. That's one of the pop-up style. It's got a spring inside of it. And when the pressure builds up inside of the capsule, it basically just pushes this up, and you have this sprinkler head right here. I think this is, this is one of the largest ones on the market. Supposedly it has like a 20-foot radius, and it rotates too. So I'll show you some video that I just took a little bit later with the actual, you know, how the thing actually works. The paint that it uses is this stuff right here. It's a mixture of fluorescein safety dye, which I know looks red, but it actually turns like a neon yellow when it gets saturated, and titanium dioxide, which is basically just a really simple, common, everyday, inert white pigment that once this stuff dries, it basically just flakes off and doesn't leave anything on the clothing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As for the specs in the car, it's a Electric's Ruckus, I think it's called. Pretty simple, pretty cheap. I think the car itself was only about 120 bucks. But I had to put on an aftermarket waterproof speed control. Had to obviously get a new fancier 3-channel transmitter. This is 2.4 gigahertz, by the way, which means that I can probably get a range of, well farther than I can probably see the thing. So a little bit better motor. It'll do maybe 20-25 miles an hour on a flat pavement or dirt road, maybe 12 to 15 on higher cut grass, but you guys will see in the video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So enjoy. So as for whether or not this thing can take a paintball hit, I think that it's going to be able to handle it just fine. I've already shot up the other body that I had from the previous prototype, and it handled it absolutely fine. On the previous one I taped the outside, on this one I taped the inside of it just so it wouldn't be quite as visible, or just, you know, look better. But yeah, it's basically just a fiber tape. It's made by Gorilla. It's kind of like a really heavy-duty duct tape. I put a couple layers over the inside, and when I actually take it on the field, I'm going to have these basically just kind of pushed in on the body, holding it in place, kind of sealing it up. Really, I mean, there's not a whole... The only exposed electronic component is the speed control, which is waterproof, and it's really just kind of hidden up inside there, and I'm going to be probably taping up around the capsule that holds the receiver and servos and all that stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot more to it. I hope that they let me actually use it on the field, and if they do, maybe next year I'll work on something a bit more badass. This thing is just kind of, you know, what I wanted to do with a relatively cheap budget. Granted, I spent more money on it than I was planning to, but if I can actually use it in a game and it actually seems to be effective, then I'm probably going to work on something a lot bigger and maybe bring it to Living Legends next year. Something, you know, on a much higher quality RC platform. But so far, this thing right here, this dispersal mechanism, I've been more than pleased with. I don't think I really need anything more than that.